little fox.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Chapter 4, Tom and Becky's Engagement. When the minister saw Tom walking forward to receive the Bible, he was shocked. The minister could not imagine how Tom had mastered 2,000 lines of verse. But the boys and girls sitting there knew. They had sold their tickets for the sake of Tom's glory. After Tom received his Bible, he was introduced to the judge, the new girl's father.
"What's your name?"
asked the judge.
Thomas,
stuttered a very nervous Tom.
"You're a fine boy, Thomas, and 2,000 verses is a lot of verses. You won't be sorry you learned them,"
said the judge. Tom thought he was free to go, but then the judge continued.
"Knowledge is precious. It's what makes good men great, and I can see you'll be a great man. I'm sure you know the names of all of Jesus' disciples, but who were his first 2 disciples?"
Tom was uncertain if he was supposed to answer, so he remained quiet.
"Thomas, answer the question,"
the minister prodded him. At that, Tom shouted out the only 2 names from the Bible he could remember.
David and Goliath.
The church erupted into laughter. Tom slunk back to his seat. His aunt poked him angrily. The next morning, Tom woke up knowing it was Monday, and Monday meant school. Tom hated school more than he hated work, and this Monday was no different. He was feeling especially sheepish after his fall from grace at the church. But at school, he would see the new girl. School would be bearable. On the way to school, Tom met his friend Huck. Huck's father was a drunk, so Huck was the only boy in town who didn't have to go to church or school.
"Hey, Huck,"
said Tom. He noticed that his friend was holding something.
"What have you got?"
"Something that will cure warts,"
said Huck.
"I have lots of warts,"
said Tom.
"Come with me to the graveyard tonight, and I can get rid of them for you,"
said Huck. Tom thought that was a good idea. Tom and Huck said goodbye, and Tom continued walking to school. By the time Tom finally got to school, he was late.
"Where have you been?"
the teacher asked. Tom usually made up a story when he was late, but today was different. If he told the teacher the truth, he would be punished by being made to sit with the girls. He saw that the only empty seat was beside the new girl. His punishment would be to sit next to her.
"I was talking with Huckleberry Finn,"
answered Tom. The teacher was shocked.
"Thomas Sawyer, that boy is bad, and you should not talk with bad boys."
Tom apologized, and the teacher made him sit next to the new girl. Tom saw the winks and heard the whispers of the other boys and girls, but he didn't care. He was happy that his plan had worked, and he pretended to read. Tom put a peach on the new girl's desk. Tom then wrote on his slate, "Please take it, I have more." The girl read the slate and quickly looked away. Soon Tom began to draw, and with his left hand he hid what he was drawing.
"Let me see,"
the girl whispered.
"I wish I could draw,"
she said when Tom finally showed her.
"It's easy,"
said Tom.
"Stay for lunch and I'll teach you. What's your name?"
"I'm Becky Thatcher. What's your... Oh, I know. I remember you from church. You're Thomas Sawyer."
"They only call me that when I'm bad,"
said Tom.
"You can call me Tom."
Tom wrote some words on his slate, and again he hid them from Becky. She begged to see them. Tom whispered,
"Promise you won't tell?"
"I promise,"
said Becky. Tom moved his hand, and Becky read the words,
"I love you. Oh, you're bad."
She blushed and turned away, but Tom saw her smiling, and he knew she was pleased. At lunch, Tom and Becky met behind the schoolhouse, and Tom asked Becky a question.
"Have you ever been engaged?"
"No."
replied Becky.
"Would you like to be?"
asked Tom.
"Maybe. What's special about it?"
"Well,"
said Tom,
"first we kiss, and then you only like me, and I only like you. And we walk to and from school together."
Becky thought it sounded nice, so she said,
I love you.
in Tom's ear.
I never thought I'd be engaged.
Said Becky, smiling.
It's fun.
Said Tom.
Amy and I...
Oh, Tom, you've been engaged before.
Shouted Becky, and she began to cry. Tom tried to comfort her, but she wouldn't listen. She was hurt and angry.
I only care for you.
Said Tom, and he left.